Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Dedrick Brooks. Dedrick is an entrepreneur here in Front Royal. He has a company called, I'm going to read it off his logo there, SSMG. That's Shenandoah Shores Management Group.
Yes, sir.
What in the world do you do, Dedrick?
So Shenandoah Shores Management Group, or SSMG for short, is a full-service concierge. So essentially, we specialize in taking people to all the wineries, breweries, distilleries, cideries, meaderies across the state. We also do airport transportation, wedding transportation, concerts, sporting events, pretty much anything that gets people from point A to point B when they either don't want to do it themselves or after they've had a little bit too much to drink with the alcoholic beverages.
Sure. Now, Dedrick, it's just a strange name to pronounce. I've just never heard that name before.
Yes, sir. It's pretty unique.
It is unique.
Yes,
I guess
sir.
it makes you stand out. Dedrick is a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps. I said, he just looks so young.
I get that a lot. Yes.
They still card you, don't they?
They do. They still card me for pretty much everything.
That's
Yes.
funny. Take advantage of it. Because,
I will.
All of a sudden one day it'll go zoom. You know what I mean?
And then it'll be all over.
It'll be all over. So how in the world did you get started in this?
So I moved to Front Royal in November of 2021. I was staying with a friend of mine, and I was working as a corporate recruiter in Tyson's Corner.
Uh-huh.
So I did that as an intern for about 3 months while I was transitioning out of the military. And November 2021 is when I started. February, they basically said, hey, you're not going to get this job. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? So I basically started looking around for different jobs, putting applications in, wasn't getting anything. So I said, I don't know what happened. It just kind of came to me at night one night. And
Right.
I said, well, I drive back and forth to Tyson's Corner. I kept seeing all these signs for wineries and breweries and stuff.
Sure.
So I just stopped into one day, and I was like, hey, how do people get around to these places? Like, how do they get here? How do they leave from here after they've been drinking? And they were like, they just drive. And I said, well, nobody's getting a lot of DUIs and things like that. And they were like, we don't know. And I was like, okay. So I went to a couple more, and kind of kept getting the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially I was like, all right, well, I can use my military background with the logistics that I used to do and my master's in human resources and kind of put that together. And knowing the fact that there's 300-something wineries across the state here.
Isn't that amazing, though?
It is. And then 2 major airports and then all the sporting events and the concerts and stuff like that. It kind of just made sense to just kind of put it all together. And it's a management group because my home is actually an Airbnb as well. So essentially I can house people, I can take them around to go do fun things in the area and, pick them up from the airport and everything.
You're definitely an entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
By accident.
I know.
By complete
I
accident.
think it's all inbred in us somehow.
Yes, sir.
We want to do something. They're not going to sit around and wait for the
Right.
government to take care of us, right?
Exactly.
Well, you got a nice little retirement coming in,
I do.
a little bit. That helps pay the rent.
It does.
Nothing else. It's good, and I can thank you for your service. I spent almost 12 years in the Air Force. I was stationed in D.C. for 8 years, and I said, that's enough.
Right.
That's all I can take. I can't take any more than 8 years in Washington, D.C.
Well, thank you for your service.
Well, I think if I was still in Dubuque, I'd have probably stayed in longer. You know what I mean? But it's true. So you've served all over the place. Where have you been?
So I was in Okinawa, Japan for a year. I was in California twice, 3 and 4 years respectively. And during that time, I went to Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. I spent a lot of time in Texas, which is cool because I'm actually from Texas.
Yeah.
So I spent about 7 years there. And then I went to Massachusetts for 2 years, Connecticut for 2 years, and finished up in Albany, Georgia.
So you mentioned you came to Front Royal. How did that happen?
So a friend of mine back in 2010, he was my boss on recruiting duty. He lives here in Front Royal and was like, hey, I really want you to come work for the company that I work for. He's director of talent acquisition for that company out in Tyson's Corner. So I was like, okay, well, I knew I needed to find something else to do after my military service. So why not come work with somebody that I know, like, and trust already?
Sure.
So I came out here and I stayed with him and I interned with that company. And like I said, it was just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
So, here I am
Don't you
now.
always believe there's something bigger and better ahead?
Absolutely.
Don't push it,
Yeah.
The Lord takes care of you.
Everything will matriculate the way that it's supposed
So
to.
you mentioned you had a master's degree. So how did that come about? I mean, you don't see that in the military. I mean,
Well,
you're a gung-ho guy.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on recruiting duty. So about 10 of my 20 years, I spent either as a recruiter, the station commander, or at the support staff for the recruiting. And education has always been a big proponent of mine. So I basically went through, I got my bachelor's degree because the military actually gives you college credits for a lot of the things that you do.
Sure.
So I got my bachelor's degree in management. And then right after that, I was like, okay, well, I want to, have a higher education. So I pursued my master's degree. I got that from Troy University. And I picked human resources because, like I said, I was in the recruiting realm for such a long time that recruiting is a part of human resources. So it just kind of made sense. and just kind of just went from there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because it's a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of hard work.
It is. It's a
And,
lot
and
of long
holding down a
hours.
full-time job and doing your education.
Absolutely.
Great opportunities in the military. Maybe,
Absolutely.
you don't regret staying in 20 years, do you?
No, not at all. I mean, it was
Everyone should do it.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was a recruiter for a long time,
Right.
so I was always my job to try to sell the military.
Sure.
But it's a good proponent if people don't kind of know what they want to do. 17 to 27 years old or 28
Sure.
years old is what the Marine Corps look for. So it's a good foundation. I know myself personally, it kind of was one of those things that kind of helped me get to my maturity and my manhood level.
Sure.
Especially considering the fact that my mom passed away when I was 17. So shout out to all the moms out there from yesterday for Mother's Day. But it kind of really gave me the base and the foundation of what I needed to kind of grow into the man that I am today.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that, because I think
Thank you.
it's good education. You should be a lifelong learner anyway. And you're
Absolutely.
still learning because you got this group. So let's go back to the SSMG. Now, so you've created a whole fleet of vehicles, because we did a ribbon cutting over at the chamber when you first started your business last year, and you had some sharp-looking vehicles there.
Yes, sir.
So you created this fleet, and you got some sharp. These guys dressed to the. You're not just wearing a T-shirt and showing up and get in a car and we're going to drive you around.
Right.
This is a first class operation.
Absolutely. So we're like I said, with us being full service, we're approachable luxury. So essentially, kind of one of the taglines that I've been using is we're luxury accommodations for the affluent and those that want to be treated like one for the day.
Right.
So that means if you've got a lot of money, you can ride with us. That means if you don't have a lot of money, you can still ride with us as well and be treated that way, because I feel like everybody should be treated like they're a rock star.
Sure.
Everybody should be treated as if they're at a higher level, even if they're not, even if they don't feel that way. Because sometimes a compliment just goes a long way for people.
Oh yeah, it does. Positive affirmations go a long way. Don't
Absolutely.
They? Yeah.
And then we strive to try to dress a certain way because we want to make your experience a little bit more elevated. So
Yeah.
I like to, wear nice suits and things
Sure,
of that
sure.
nature and show up and kind of present myself into a
I
certain
bet you
kind
were
of
a
way.
sharp dresser in the Marine Corps too. I bet you had your uniforms tailored, didn't you?
Absolutely. Just have everything pressed out and everything. So
Creased
it's
every
good.
day, just nice. And that cover was just perfect. I
Right.
can see you now in the uniform. But no, seriously, it makes a big difference in the presentation of how you present yourself and
Yes.
you dress and you get and you're elevating your employees as well.
Absolutely.
I always tell people years ago when we were doing a lot of telephone calls and sales and the guys, you're in a building, no one ever sees you. They just wear a T-shirt and blue jeans. I made them put a tie on,
Right.
just around on top of their T-shirt. Sales went up.
Yes, it's a certain level that you present yourself.
Yeah.
We're consummate professionals, so we strive to look a certain way that we act. So
Sure.
yes, sir.
Yeah, nice fleet, good cars. So tell us, so you take people to the airport.
Yes.
So if you want to go to Dulles or Reagan,
Or BWI.
Or BWI.
And it doesn't matter what time. So if you've got an early morning flight, an international flight, a late night flight, we're here to pick you up and get you there safely.
so then when I give you my flight information, I'm returning on Sunday at 3:00 a.m. You'll be there.
we'll be there. We'll probably be there around 2:50, but we'll be there.
Don't worry. Yeah.
That's right. So if you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're on time.
Yeah,
Or
you learn that
however
quick,
saying
don't
goes.
you?
Yes, sir.
That's how the military is. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it sounds like you found a niche because the airports charge you probably as much as you charge to go down there, leave your car for a week or two.
Yep.
You've done run up a bill higher than what it costs you to go have someone drive, and you're so tired, especially after these long flights.
After the long flights and everything,
wore
yes.
out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yes.
It's tough. Well, congratulations on your business.
Thank you.
And keep us posted what's going on. We'll put a link here below to your website. And if you're out traveling or just want to have a good time, because these tours, that's a big thing. We didn't really talk much about. You do offer these wine tours.
Yes, sir.
And-
So I call them libation stations. So a libation is any kind of alcoholic beverages. So wineries, breweries, distilleries, cideries, meaderies. So again, there's 300 plus wineries across the state of Virginia. If you add the cideries and distilleries and the meaderies, there's 450 different libation stations. So my biggest thing is I want to try to keep as many people off the road and safe while doing the things responsibly.
Right.
So, if you haven't been to some of these places around here, and some people don't even realize around here, there's 15 or 20 different wineries just around here that are fantastic.
Within an hour's drive, right?
Within an hour's drive.
Yeah.
Great views, great wine, great, different libations and things of that nature. So if you want to get out and explore some of those places, especially with the weather getting nicer now,
Right.
we're the ones to call to take you to
And
those
you have some
things.
fairly large vehicles.
Yes,
I've
sir.
seen that you did.
Yeah.
So you have a nice van.
Yes.
It's got some really beautiful Cadillacs there. That was sharp.
Yes.
This is none of these rust buckets you drive around in.
Not
They're
any
first
rust
class.
buckets. Yes, sir.
They're first class.
Like I said, approachable luxury. So
It is. And you can just take a group of ladies out for the day and to a nice little
ladies,
tour.
gentlemen, whoever wants to go, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to go out and experience life a little bit and live after we've been in this pandemic for the last few years,
Sure.
and wants to get out and do it responsibly and safely, we are here to help you out with that.
Well, we appreciate it. It's a great service in our community. So check it out. Check out his website. It's a really good deal, I think, and it's just great to see another entrepreneur. I can't get a job, I'll make a job.
That's right.
And you've hired people.
I have.
So you've actually created employment in our community.
Yes, sir.
And we're glad. Texas is a great place, but I'm glad you're here.
Virginia's a nice little place too.
It's a nice little
We're
place
warming
too.
up to it.
You kind of, yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's different.
It is.
But you're a man of the world, so you kind of figured out you could live anywhere you want.
That's
and you
right.
chose Front Royal.
Bloom where you're planted. That's what the Marine Corps always taught me.
That's right. All right. It's
Yes,
great.
sir.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dan.
Thanks, sir.